Brian! Is coming now? Is it down the street? Are you gonna get out? Oh my God! Will you please get out of the way? No, I'm scared you're gonna drive off without me.
Just pick up, just pick up.
You okay? Stay back, stay. Don't get in front of the
Space.
Everyone move. Okay. Want to get your shot, nice.
I can't see.
She can't see, love. She's gonna go.
Guys, move open.
He's in the front.
I know it's not, but I just want to listen for you. You cannot say yes or no?
She's small.
Oh my God! She's completely bald.
Britney is known around the world for her record-breaking, chart-topping albums, her mind-blowing yet sometimes racy and shocking performances, her numerous, scandalous romances, and last but certainly not least, her very public meltdowns. She was born Britney Jean Spears to Lynn Irene Bridges and James Parnell Spears, December 2nd, 1981, in Macomb, Mississippi, a heavily religious community. Britney, the middle child of three, had a less than ideal childhood. Her father was a raging alcoholic, and her mother threw Britney into performing arts starting at the age of 2. Britney often had a front row seat to her parents' domestic disputes, as their residence at the time was in a trailer park, which left little room to escape. She had her big break when she became part of the Mickey Mouse Club, alongside Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling. Britney and Justin later became romantically involved, becoming one of the biggest power couples in the music industry. He could also be somewhat credited for her chosen path into stardom, as she had originally made contact with Lou Pearlman, the founder and manager of music groups such as the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, which Timberlake was a part of. Although she didn't end up being part of Lou's female group Innocence, this certainly helped her get noticed and make the right contacts. During her career, she's released 9 studio albums, 6 of which debuted at number 1, as well as completed 10 grueling world tours. Between 2013 and 2017, Britney maintained a residency mainly in Las Vegas. She's received many awards, including a Grammy, 7 Guinness World Records, 6 MTV Video Music Awards, and has her very own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. As of 2017, she sold over 150 million records worldwide, making her one of the best-selling music artists of all time. But we're not here to discuss her accolades. Her rapid rise to fame in her youth required her to work practically non-stop, and by the age of 18, she'd been prescribed various medications to manage her stress, anxiety, and depression, most notably Prozac. Over the next few years, she was constantly in the public eye, with her incredible stage performances, her scandalous affair with Wade Robson, and subsequent breakup with Justin Timberlake. The breakup in particular caused quite the media spectacle, and Timberlake took full advantage, dedicating the song Cry Me a River as the second single to his first solo album to Britney, which she responded to with her ballad, Every Time. This, of course, was all topped off with her 55-hour marriage after she eloped with childhood sweetheart Jason Alexander.
You know, that was real back then, bro. People thought that was a joke, but I wasn't playing. That was my real emotion.
Britney was constantly under pressure, but it wasn't long before she became involved with backup dancer Kevin Federline. The two had only been dating for a few months before becoming engaged, and it was not long after they were wed that Britney became pregnant with her first child. During this time, she had attempted to introduce more of her own personal songs and had made a surprise appearance at an LA radio station where she released a demo entitled Mona Lisa. Sources revealed that Britney referred to herself as Mona Lisa when she needed to get things done. Should also point out that the Mona Lisa is one of the most reproduced art pieces of all time. Her label, Jive Records, forced her to scrap her album Original Doll in exchange for what became Blackout, which was followed up with her less than stellar performance of Give Me More at an awards show. Critics claimed that Britney's career was coming to an end and that she was burnt out. The fact of the matter was that she'd come to the realization of how little creative control she had, which had an even greater impact due to her contractual commitments. She was being treated as a valuable commodity, not a living, breathing human being with her own thoughts and emotions. Things began spinning out of control after the birth of her first child, Sean Preston, in September of 2005. After a series of traffic offenses and other incidents involving paparazzi, Britney's mental stability began being called into question.
Hey, guys, give her room, guys. Come on.
Please get back.
Okay, everybody get back.
Get back, man. Here's a kid in her hand.
Guys. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Go, watch out with the baby, guys. Watch out with the baby, guys. Watch out with the baby, guys.
After her hiatus lasting only a couple years, and the birth of her second child, Jaden James, in September of 2006, things between Kevin and Britney were coming to an end. And soon, the infamously tumultuous custody battle would begin. Following their split, Britney became a PR nightmare, being seen out on numerous occasions, partying with Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. During this time, she became notorious for exposing herself to paparazzi, with and without undergarments. It is still not confirmed whether this was by accident or not. Everything came to a peak when Britney's aunt Sandra passed away early 2007. Sandra was like a second mother to Britney, and she would often seek refuge with Sandra whenever her parents were fighting. This was the final straw for Britney's mental stability, and after an overnight stay at a drug rehab facility, she visited a hair salon where she demanded the hairdresser shave her head. Afterwards, she entered a tattoo parlor to get some body art done. When asked why she'd shaved her hair off, Britney replied, "I don't want anyone touching me. I'm tired of everybody touching me." The next few months, Britney and Kevin were embroiled in their heated custody battle. Britney continued to have run-ins with paparazzi, which also hit its peak with the memorable umbrella incident, which included a physical altercation and damage to a paparazzi's vehicle.
Gotten shots up, please, guys. No, guys, please, guys, don't do this. No.
Britney had also began to adopt new personalities, accompanied by different accents and quirks.
Hey, excuse me, where's your friend?
Oh, he's right here.
No, not that friend.
So which one?
Are you gonna get out? Oh my god, will you please get out of the way? No, I'm scared you're gonna drive off without me.
No, I just really, want to talk and just say, how nice our world is. It is so nice. I'm gonna cry right now, because, our world is so nice. No, it really is, because,
Psychoanalyst Bethany Marshall commented on her outrageous and unpredictable behavior. "This is a major form of acting out," she said. "She's not using words and language as a way to express what's going on. She's doing things. The crotch shots, shaving her head, the tattoos. It says that she hasn't learned to assert herself and become independent through self-assertion rather than through acting out." Regarding the alternate personalities, psychologist Renee Cohen speculated that Britney may have begun suffering from some kind of dissociative disorder or split personality disorder, questioning if Britney knows she's Britney when she appears to be taking on another identity. Cohen goes on to suggest the simple influence of her maternal grandmother, who was originally from England, or the time she was spending with her new boyfriend Adnan, who had grown up in England. This, however, does not explain the others. It was the end of 2007 when Britney began dating paparazzi Adnan Galib, who had a front row seat to her meltdowns. He later admitted he'd made roughly $200,000 a year following Britney around. Early 2008, Britney was placed on a 5150 hold, otherwise known as an involuntary psychiatric hold, after refusing to allow Kevin to take her 4-month-old infant during a scheduled visit. She was placed on yet another psychiatric hold against her will a few weeks later after refusing to take her medication. In the meantime, her parents were pursuing a restraining order against Britney's manager, Sam Lutfi, who was accused of cutting off Britney's access to home and cell phones, disabling her vehicles, and grinding pills into her food. Sam had allegedly told Britney that she was an unfit mother, a piece of trash, and that she cares more about Adnan, her current boyfriend, than she cares about her kids, and that she does not deserve her kids. Britney's father, James, was given a temporary conservatorship, which meant that he would manage financial and daily affairs due to her physical and mental limitations. Britney had attempted to hire her own lawyer to represent her, but due to the conservatorship, she was legally unfit to hire her own representation. However, attorney John Eardley pressed on with his intentions to represent Britney, believing her civil rights had been violated and that her children were being used as pawns in what he referred to as an extortion scheme. You may not be aware of the fact that your civil rights were violated. I have developed a legal strategy for you that I'm confident will turn everything around and ultimately garner you full custody of your children within approximately 30 to 60 days. They will not be happy until they've denied you your freedom and milked you for your last dime. The custody case, as you know, is nothing more than a flat-out extortion scheme, with your children being used as pawns. Commissioner Gordon was quick to deny you all of your visitation rights, even before Cedars issued its evaluation that you were not under the influence of illegal drugs or alcohol. Commissioner Gordon clearly is biased against you. Your case will continue to spiral until they've denied you your freedom, your children, and your assets. Please recognize that aside from some anxiety and depression, which are totally normal under these circumstances, there is nothing wrong with you, but that the court system routinely engages in character assassination to conceal its internal bias and to break you down. What they ultimately want is to get you into conservatorship, and at that point, your freedom will be denied, giving them the full opportunity to steal all of your money and to deny you any access to your children. James Spears was quick to request a restraining order against Eardley as well, citing that he was causing Britney a substantial amount of emotional stress. Eardley then attempted to have the conservatorship case moved from state court to federal court to have a better chance at representing Britney in a non-biased hearing. The judge, of course, ruled that Eardley had violated a court order in representing Britney due to the temporary conservatorship. Interestingly enough, a new law was inspired by the troubles Britney faced when it came to the paparazzi, and a personal safety bubble law was created to keep opportunists from taking advantage of celebrities and interfering in their day-to-day lives. Much of Britney's outrageous behavior was a direct result of the constant harassment from the paparazzi, but by that point, it was much too late.
Let's get to the door. I need to get to the door.
Come on, give her some room, you guys. Break the room. Guys. Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. All right, open up.
The media had painted an extremely volatile and unstable picture of Britney, and Britney's father was very easily able to gain complete control of her affairs indefinitely. She could no longer drive, vote, or make any legal or financial decisions by herself. If she was so incapable of taking care of herself and deemed an unfit mother, why was she not able to take time to take care of her staggering mental health? Instead, Britney was forced to press on, recording her next album, followed up with a tour, including meet and greets and television interviews. She also took part in a documentary commemorating her return to Hollywood. Conservatorship is intended for the disabled or elderly who cannot work or care for themselves. Yet the then 27-year-old Britney proved more than capable. It became clear that those closest to her, meant to protect and look out for her, were not only bleeding her dry, but had very little regard for her mental health and stability. Instead of allowing her to take some real time off for the first time in her life and helping her get some proper psychological treatment, they drugged her and held her against her will in psychiatric facilities. For the last 10 years, she's continued to perform like a good little puppet, continuing to record albums and tour. In 2012, she replaced Pussycat Dolls' Nicole Scherzinger as a judge on X Factor. In 2013, she began her 5-year Las Vegas residency. She met her current beau in 2016 while taping the music video Slumber Party for her 9th and last album released to date, Glory. The then 22-year-old Sam Ashgari and 35-year-old Britney publicly announced their relationship on Instagram New Year's Day 2017. Unfortunately, things slowly began unraveling once again. Whenever Britney starts dating someone new, she gets a refreshing sense of freedom, but all the while questioning that person's motives. Especially when she's always chosen to date below her, so to speak, in the industry. Not that those of lesser income are any less, and perhaps based on her humble beginnings, she finds it easier to relate. But this has proven to be what's made her the most vulnerable to the vultures. This relationship appears to be the most healthy she's had thus far. She is now a 37-year-old woman and has created very little to no cause for concern for a good number of years. In retrospect, she has never really been as reckless as the media, her family, and her PR team would have you believe. Her mental instability can be directly related with the pressure and lack of control she regularly felt. And when you compare her antics to other high-powered celebs like Robert Downey Jr., for example, she's pretty tame, and nowhere near the same kind of hazard to herself or others to the same degree. Almost all of the incidents that occurred were because of the paparazzi taking excessive advantage of her personal life and space, the very little that she had. In January of 2019, Britney's residency was canceled after her father suffered a near-fatal colon rupture, and her team announced that she'd be taking an indefinite hiatus. In March of 2019, Andrew Wallet, her father's lawyer, and her co-conservator resigned, and that same month, Britney entered once again into a psychiatric facility to focus on self-care. An anonymous paralegal source later alleged that Britney had been held in the facility since January 2019 against her will. They went on to say that it was ordered by Britney's father after she was once again refusing to take her medication, and that she was not supposed to be driving. James had told her team to blame his illness for her psych visit. They also went on to mention that the conservatorship was meant to have ended in 2009 after the circus tour.
Hi there. I cannot disclose who I am. I just heard the latest episode. You guys are onto something. I used to be a paralegal for an attorney that worked with Britney's conservatorship. I am no longer with them. And what is happening is disturbing, to say the least. So, basically, Britney was in rehearsals for Domination. It came to Jamie Spears, that Britney was not taking her medication as prescribed. She was missing a lot of doses and just full on not taking them. So they got her to the doctor. The doctor said, okay, if you don't want these medications, let's get you on a new one. Well, she refused to take the new one. So Jamie said, either you take this medication or the show's off, and I'm pulling my support and you can't do it. Britney did not follow Jamie's instructions, and so he was true to his word. He pulled the show. He verbatim said, blame it on my illness. And that's when we get the early January Instagram. Fast forward a couple days, Britney's still not following through with her medication. And as you guys have mentioned, she is seen with Sam driving. A big no-no on, it's a big rule that she broke. Britney has been in the mental facility since mid-January. Of course, the statement yesterday said she entered last week. That is not true. She's been in there since mid-January, and there is no timeline. Granted, I've been gone. I haven't worked at the company or at the firm for about a little over 2 weeks now, but there is no end, particularly in sight, for this stay at this mental facility to end. She did not want to go. She, I of course, I'm just a paralegal. I haven't had any contact with her, but from what I understand, this was not a decision she made at all.
I have to sidestep for a moment and point out the similarities to Marilyn Monroe's final days. She too came from humble beginnings, and she also suffered anxiety, depression, and insomnia. They both had developed a dependency on medication to function in their day-to-day lives. Marilyn was 37 years old when she was overcome by an excessive amount of her prescribed medication. The exact circumstances are still unclear, and many different theories have been discussed decades over. The difference is, Britney has a fair chance to take back her own life, because unlike Marilyn, Britney has the advantage of a new age and having the entire world watching. April 22nd, 2019, fans protested outside of the West Hollywood City Hall in what was being referred to as the Free Britney movement, drawing attention to her prolonged conservatorship and that she was being held against her will. A couple days later, Britney was released from the facility and was seen leaving alongside Ashgari. It was reported that she would have a new conservatorship hearing in May. Her mother filed documents to be informed on all matters regarding Britney and her conservatorship, which would suggest her mother intended to take over the conservatorship.
Jamie appeared in court today with his attorney. At the moment, Jamie is currently in charge of all of Britney's legal affairs. But Britney's mom, who is divorced from Jamie, said in court documents filed today that it is in her daughter's best interest that she have a say as well.
Are you concerned for your daughter, Mr. Spears?
Britney's dad was tight-lipped as he left court.
Following that hearing, an investigation was launched, and her next hearing was set for September 18th, 2019.
Britney has serious issues, right? And her dad was courageous enough to put her on a conservatorship. She has done beautifully for 10 years. Now she'd like to get out of that conservatorship. She's entitled to that.
She's a grown adult.
She's entitled to it. Take a look at it. That's fine. It may not go well, but she's entitled to have a look at that. In the meantime, leave Britney alone.
September 3rd, 2019, Britney and Kevin reached a new agreement regarding the custody of their sons. Kevin was to retain 70% custody, while Britney was awarded 30% custody. Later that day, it was revealed that Federline had filed a police report against James Spears regarding a physical altercation between James and Britney and Kevin's eldest son, Sean. Additionally, both Sean and Jaden were granted a restraining order against their grandfather. As of September 9th, 2019, James Spears decided to temporarily step down as Britney's conservator. However, he has not yet relinquished conservatorship over her estate. Britney's care manager, Jody Montgomery, is currently approved to fill in for Jamie as a conservator until January 31st, 2020. Shortly after, Britney's mother Lynn made legal moves to challenge the conservatorship, criticizing Jamie's decisions regarding Britney's financial management and medical care. To make matters worse, and even more suspicious, Britney's 48-year-old psychiatrist, Dr. Timothy Benson, passed away only a week before the September 18, 2019 hearing. Sources say it was due to an aneurysm, but the official cause of death has not yet been disclosed. No ruling was made during the September 18th hearing, and the case has been postponed pending further investigation and analysis until January 2020. Fans had gathered in protest once again, rallying outside the courthouse in support of Britney. Britney isn't quite out of the woods yet. I'm sure I'll be needing to make a part 2 of this video in the very near future. However, the point of this video is to assess her up until now and whether her behavior and actions have any due cause. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Big thanks to those of you that made it right up until the end. If you like this video and want to see more, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on. And I will catch you on the flip side.